Well, this trilogy went downhill pretty damn quick, didn't it? Hello everyone, this is GNB Productions, and today we'll be continuing our Chucky marathon with its third entry in the franchise, Child's Play 3. Yeah, if it wasn't apparent from the opening or the title of the video, I am not very fond of this movie. See, this movie, after the success that was Child's Play 2, released the very next year afterwards, meaning that all the writing, filming, editing, etc. all had to be carried out in just a couple of months, and boy does it show. This film holds the title for me and others as one of the worst in the series, and for pretty good reasons. The rushed production effectively killed this movie by not giving them enough time to come up with any interesting storylines, characters, and all around making this one a bit of a slog to get through. This movie takes place 8 years after Child's Play 2 and focuses on a 16-year-old Andy Barclay as he is enlisted into military school, where a newly resurrected Chucky quickly makes his way over to in an attempt to get into a new body, being the new young cadet Tyler. Firstly, this movie to me probably has the weakest supporting cast thus far. Might go as far as to say it's the weakest supporting cast in the franchise. It's packed to the brim with cookie-cutter characters, tropes, and non-interesting storylines to carry it through. There's this romance subplot with Andy and one of the few female cadets who, as I was writing this, already forgot the name of despite watching the movie a week prior. It's De Silva, by the way. You have the nerdy character Whitehurst, who is honestly just okay. There's nothing significant to write home about, and his sacrifice near the end of the movie didn't really do anything for me. Then there's the jock bully character Shelton, and the first words I used in this sentence pretty much summed up his entire character. And then there's Tyler. Tyler. Christ almighty, is this kid annoying. I don't mean to sound too harsh, but good lord, I could not stand him throughout this entire thing. The movie tries to play the naive card with him, in that he just kind of goes along with Chucky's bullshit until it's very apparent he tries to swap bodies. But to me, instead of them doing that to make him a bit more likable or charming or whatever, it kind of just ended up making me more annoyed with him. The only side character I really enjoyed was the barber guy, Botnick, because he has this creepy as hell obsession with cutting people's hair, and the reason he's my favorite is because he provided the most amount of laughs because of how campy and over the top he is. Then we have the two characters everyone's here for, Andy and Chucky respectively. 16-year-old Andy Barclay in this movie is played by Justin Whalen, and I'm personally not that big a fan. He's very bland to me and doesn't do a good job of emoting with his line delivery, and sounds the exact same with at least 60 to 70% of his lines. Another thing I noticed is that Kyle is nowhere to be found in this movie. Admittedly, she doesn't really have a place in the film, but I would have at least liked a passing mention. This franchise just really has a knack for removing characters we like in the very next installment, doesn't it? Chucky, as always, is really good in this movie. One thing I don't dig is his design. I don't know what it is in the face department that I've just never really been into. But in this third installment, it also becomes very apparent that the whole get out of this doll storyline is starting to get a tad repetitive. They change it up a tad by him going after Tyler instead of Andy, and with that, I do like how it adds a new dynamic for him and Andy. Instead of him being hunted, he and Andy kind of have this arch enemy / long-running rival kind of thing going on. But not only do I feel it isn't utilized to its fullest, around this point is when the get out of the doll formula does get formulaic, because this being the third time they've done it doesn't really guarantee that anything will be different for Chucky than the last two times this happened. So I just end up not really caring as much. Alright, moving away from the characters. This film sets itself apart from its predecessors that had the grungy kind of look in the first movie and a bright suburban setting in the second. The military setting for this film does a pretty good job in making this one stand out, but to me, it really starts to get dull as it goes on. Nothing visually stands out until we get to the amusement park and the climax. And on that, I feel like I can sum up the worst thing this movie does for me. And it's that, as a whole, this movie was just really boring. A majority of the characters are either boring, annoying, or fall into very standard tropes, without trying to make them any more interesting. The visuals in this movie are pretty boring to look at, and the story sort of treads the same ground we've had for 2 films now, and is a poor attempt at trying to recapture the feel of its predecessors. All of that, to me, is why I feel Child's Play 3 is the worst Chucky movie. So, if you agree or disagree with anything I've said in this video, let me know right down there in the comments below. Also, be sure to like and subscribe. This is Darren at GNB Productions, and take care.